this video, we're going to show you guys step by step on how to analyze a product to sell it on Amazon. Now, those of you that don't know who I am, my name is Bashar Kattoo, and I'm the founder of BJK University, an education company with a mission to impact 1 million lives. So in this video, me and Lorraine are going to share our screen and simply walk you guys through exactly what to look for in terms of keywords, search volume, sales, selling price, how much money you need to invest, reviews, and simply just everything. We found a product that we think is actually a pretty good product, and one of our coaches used to sell this product about a year ago or so before she sold it out. And in this video, we're going to simply walk you guys through the step-by-step on how to analyze it, and then simply just show you, if we would sell this product today or not, and so on. Hey, hey.
Hey, hey.
All right, Lorraine, well, it's awesome having you here again. So what I want to do first is I want to kind of give an overview of what we're going to be talking about in terms of what are the most important aspects of product research or product analysis, more so. And then we're going to share our screen, obviously, and then kind of show them a few things. So why don't you walk us through the top 3 or 4 or 5 things that we're going to focus on in this video when it comes to analyzing a product?
Yeah, analyzing a product. I love research. I like to find the numbers, and we're always stay loyal to the numbers. So the first thing we want to do is we want to check on our competitors and find out what the pricing range is. Now, Amazon is also going to add in an FBA fee. So I want to make sure that it's low enough where I'm going to have enough room to profit from it. I want to make sure it's not brand dominant, because if I go to a site and say Nike is selling everything there, I'm not going to be able to get my foot in the door on that one. So I want to make sure that there's a whole bunch of different sellers and it's not brand dominant. Now, I also want to make sure that the review count is low. If the review count for, say, the top 10, and sometimes we even look at the top 20, because that's still pretty high up on the page, depending on maybe there's more and more room to grow. If I see that I have enough room to grow in this one, I'll scroll down and look. It's like, oh, there's really a lot of room to grow, because the review count, not many people have given a lot of reviews to the seller. So me coming in with 0 reviews yet, and I need to build my reviews, I have room to grow. But if there's a bunch of people with like 10,000, 20,000, who's going to look at my 0? No reviews. So we want to make sure this review count is low, so we have room to move. Awesome. Another thing that we want to look at on this one, and I'm trying to think what more. I look at the creation date. I look how long it's been there. I look at the graph to see that it's steady, that there's not a whole lot of fluctuations. And I'll pay attention to that Christmas to see how high it goes so I can stock appropriately.
Let me ask you about that. You said you look for products that have been around for a little bit. Is there a specific time, like months or years, that you're looking for?
At least 12 months. At least 12 months is really good, because then it gives you good data.
Why is that important?
We need to be able to see, a lot of times you'll see NA, because there's no data. It hasn't been around long enough. And how are we going to analyze it if there's no data? Okay.
So why don't you go ahead and share your screen and walk us through how you would go about analyzing a product that you just found that you feel like it's a potential, and just kind of, show us what you would do,
Yeah, so this is the Pulley System Gym. And what we do is we work with an app, Helium 10. The Helium 10 allows us to do product research, but it also allows us to analyze the products on Amazon. And you'll see that up here in my bar. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this page full of products up and do an X-ray. So X-rays obviously allow you to look deeper at things. So we're going to go ahead and wait for this to, there we go. And now we're going to get to see all the products that are on this page. We want to get rid of the sponsored because they're paying to get there. So we just remove them. I want to see the legit people selling. And here we go. So I want to take my top 10. So I'm going to expand this a little bit more to include my top 10. Okay. So I need a little bit more room here. Anyways, the first thing we're going to look at is it competitively priced? Are they all pretty much in the same area? I've got one at 93, but this is because it's a whole lot. People with less is going to be cost a little bit less. We get rid of the things that are totally different than what we're doing. This is way out, so I would just remove them because it's irrelevant to what I'm doing, and I'll remove them. And then I want everything to pretty much look the same as what we're looking at. So I want to look at the prices and I want to make sure that they're pretty consistent because I'll have room to move in. This is a smaller one and hence it's why it doesn't have as much as this guy does. So that's okay with me. I may decide I want something smaller. Next thing I want to do is I want to look at the revenues. I want to see how good they're doing. And this up top will generally tell you, I set mine for $8,000 revenue a month. But generally we try to keep it around 10,000, but I like the $8,000 mark. I don't go below that. And I don't suggest anybody else does either, especially when you're first starting out. So I make sure that, and I want to see that I have enough room to move. 5 out of 10 to me is pretty good. I like that. I've got a good shot at getting in there. So I want to make sure that the FBA fees are okay. So look, it's
Lorraine,
not more than.
Can you talk a
Go
little
ahead.
bit about that when you said 5 out of 10 on the second one? What was that about?
So 5 out of 10 means I have our review count. We want to keep it 250 and below. So right now I have on the first 10, I have 5 that are above and 5 that are below. And we can see this in our review count right here. So 109, 86, 100, 181. Look at all of these guys. There's a lot of room to move in here.
So reviews is the first thing you look at, then the revenue, then you said the price, and then what else do you look at?
I do look at the FBA fees and make sure that it doesn't, I'd say I like to keep it at less than 50% of what it is. At least, give yourself 10% for what it's going to cost your product, because you want your product cost and your FBA fee to equal about 50% of your selling price. The next thing I want to look at is I want to make sure that this thing is not showing up Amazon everywhere. We never want to compete with Amazon. And we don't want to be against somebody that is brand dominant. But remember, we're always loyal to the numbers. If the numbers don't look good, I don't care how much you like the product, let it go. It's a rock. We're selling, it's like selling 2 rocks. If you have one that the numbers are great on, but you really like the second one, but the numbers are horrible, you sell the first one because the numbers are great and you are going to have a better shot at making more revenues. So we always remain loyal to the numbers. So the keyword is what I might be typing in today, you might be typing in tomorrow, and my neighbor might be typing in later on today. So if all 3 of us are typing in pulley system gym, that's a keyword and it's going to bring up my product.
What's the number of search volume that we need to make sure that it's that is there?
We want to generally stay as close to between 5,000 and 20,000.
Got it. Okay. Now let's look at I want to look at the graph of the actual product just to kind of see what that looks like. So why don't you walk us through that, Lorraine, for us, please?
Okay, so right here next to search volume, you're going to see this little squiggly. This is your graph you want to see. These are amazing. I love these. Okay, we want to pay attention to the 1 year. Make sure it's got at least a year's data. Okay, so it does have a dip in here in 2021, but it's still pretty decent. But after that, it stays consistently above 5,000. And we have another one down here. It drops a little bit, but it's still a good number. It's close to 5,000. And as we can see, it's pretty much dipping up again. So now we want to look at all time. We want to make sure we don't have a volatile graph where it's 4,000 this day and then 20,000 that day and then 3,000 this day. And then, the volatile graph like that, it wreaks havoc on you yourself as well, because we're following the numbers. How come it's lower? Now you're all stressed out. So we want to stay with something that's relatively consistent. It stays like this in here. This section right here is really good. This stays above 5,000, which is good. And it stays below 20,000 at 13,000. So for all this time, it looks really good. You had a minor dip, but then it goes back up and it pretty much stays around the $5,000 range. So this is actually pretty decent. And remember to always pay attention to this one. This is your Christmas spike. You want to see what's going on Christmas time, right about there, because that means you need to plan according with your stock. You need more stock, especially if you're selling. You pay attention to your what is happening on your sales? What are they selling? 300 a month, 400 a month, 1,000 a month, 45. These numbers are extremely important because it will allow you to know how much you're generally going to be selling per month. So you work on the averages about how much they're generally selling, and how much you are selling is really important. If I'm selling 200 a month and I've got to get through the Christmas, and then remember that China or wherever you're getting it, some of them have holidays too where their factories shut down. So you need to make sure you have enough stock to carry you over that.
How would you plan for like Q4, for instance?
For Q4, I know that Christmas is coming up. I know I'm selling 250 a month right now. I want to make sure I have at least 2 months supply in there. Whatever I've got in there now, and I better get it in. I know how much that, how long it takes to produce. So I'll talk to my supplier in advance and let them know, hey, we're getting ready to stock for Christmas, so be ready for me, okay? Well, how much are you going to be putting in for? I said, this time I want 1,000. I want 1,000. You know, my sales can be higher because Christmas can double and triple. So I want to make sure I'm prepared, especially if I'm a longer term seller and my product is doing good. But if you're just starting out, I would double it. I would make sure I have at least 2 months stock, because remember, they're going to shut down too. They have a period of time where they shut down and you can't get your stock. And if you run out of stock, your ranking drops and then you have to fight to get it back. So you always want to make sure that you never run out of stock. So evaluate how much you're selling per month. How long does it take to sell X amount that you have? And then make sure you always have at least 2 months stock, especially when you have a Christmas season or a Prime Day, things like this that are coming up. Make sure you have a good amount of stock so you can make some good amount of revenues.
Well, what else would you look at?
I actually look at the pricing and why their pricing is this way. Well, I can see from this guy, he's got, I look at their dimensions, but I also pay attention to the fulfillment and make sure there's not a lot of Amazon. Oh my goodness, you never want to go up against Amazon. That you don't. But 1, 2, that's fine. Sometimes 3, if it's lower on the list like this, that's fine. But once I hit 3, that tells me that they're trying to dominate this market, and that concerns me. How am I going to get through them, especially when they're all in the top 10? So I'll move on to a different keyword. I'll definitely check something else out. I want to see my revenues. Now, another thing I want to do is I want to see the top revenue makers. I'm always going to pay attention to these top revenue makers because I want to see what they're doing that's different within the same niche. Like this guy's making 78. And that's the one I spotted in the beginning. He's got an ebook. I didn't see hardly anybody with an ebook. And that little thing, that little book that's in the middle, that can make the whole difference because people want to know how to use their product. People want to know what else they can do to use their product. I just see people with the pulley system. Now, I purchased one of these and we had a little instruction manual. It's a good thing I have my husband around. Otherwise, it might still be in the box. Because I couldn't find, it's like, but then I found the ebook. I'm like, yes, this is great stuff. So not only that, you can see as we were talking in a previous video, look at the photograph, always on a white background, but he's adding value by sending me an ebook and he has something to carry it. I don't see anybody doing that here. I'm like, this would catch my attention. He's giving me great value, So I like this one. So I would try to pattern something after what the top seller is doing. If he's making a lot of revenues, I'm going to see what he's doing right. So I want to go in and look at his product and I'll click on him. And then I'll go over and I'll see what people are saying about him. I want to know why they're getting so many 5 stars, 4 stars. What is going on with their product? What do people like? What do people not like? Because if I can find something in here that people don't like, and then I check maybe the 10 other top sellers and I see a consistency, I'll talk to my supplier and say, hey, can you add this in there, please? And then I can advertise it right here that, well, I have this where others don't. That's a key selling point. So these things, when we evaluate, we want to evaluate his pictures. What's so good about, his pictures? They look great, informative, wonderful. And then I want to look at their reviews, because it just doesn't, end when you're looking at somebody's numbers. Now you want to dig a little bit deeper. You want to see what you can do to mimic the top seller and then add value.
Let me ask a question, Lorraine. How would you price a product coming in? So let's say if we were to come into this, this market, how would you price it?
Depending on if mine is more expensive, mine has more, I go by what mine looks like versus what other people's look like. I remove the top number, because sometimes it's like $199, and then the lower one can be like $20. It's like, so I remove the top and the bottom number, and I take the 8 in the middle. And then what I do is I see where the consistency is. Another thing afterwards, if you do decide to do this one, you want to see what keywords they're using. This is a great idea when you're doing, but that's going to move you up. If you decide that you're going to sell this one, now you're going to do a new strategy, which we'll talk about in another video.
All right.
That was a lot of fun.
Okay.
But yeah, basically you want to pay attention to your revenue, your review count. It's not brand dominant. You want to make sure that your graft is steady. And like I said, we're paying attention and we're being loyal to the numbers.
So I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you did, and if you want BJK University to walk you through the entire process from selecting product, launching product, and supporting you throughout the entire journey, click the link below this video. Outside of that, hope to see you in the next video. Thank you very much. See you then.